So if you're interested in hearing the story how I started a side hustle for $3,000 and built it into a $9 million a year business with 26% profit margin, you're gonna love today's video because I'm gonna tell you the story of Pete and Pedro, my men's grooming company. This month so far, $329,000. I just thought it was appropriate to actually show you that so that you know that what I'm saying is not bullshit. And that's one of the things and the reasons why I wanted to start this channel, is that a lot of the information that's out there in terms of these guys talking about business, a lot of it's bullshit. And as you can see, this is the real deal. Something else that's the real deal is profit. All right, I have built Pete and Pedro to be a lifestyle business. All right, now, what's the difference? A lifestyle business essentially means that this business is something that I'm not trying to sell or get rid of or sell to some big company for millions and millions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't sell Pete and Pedro, but that's not the goal. And when you run a business and start a business, knowing how you're going to operate it, how you're going to spend money, how you're going to grow it, this is something that you should honestly know up front. For me, the most important thing here is not only top line growth, it really is profitability. Pete and Pedro operates at around a 26% profit margin, which is pretty good. Now, my marketing director says that I like to take the snail's approach to growth, right? I don't. I like to grow, but I don't want to sacrifice growth or top line for bottom line. For me personally, I don't care what the top line is, that big sexy number that everybody likes to talk about. I like to talk about the bottom line, what I'm actually sticking in my pocket. Pete and Pedro, like I said, was started back in 2013 for $3,000. How did I do it? Private label. Ew, everybody hates the word private label, white label, whatever you want to call it. But there is no easier way and more affordable way to start a business. And that's something that I want to really leave you with today, is that private labeling gets a bad rap, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's crap, private label. No. Most of the private labeling products that you're going to find are super crazy high quality. They've been tested. Now, what is a private label company? What is a white label company? All right, so here it is. If you have a business that you want to start. For me, it was hairstyling products. I went to my friend Steven. I said, Steven, do you know any companies that actually manufacture hair products? He said, yeah. He gave me 5 names. I contacted him. I said, hey, I want to start my own line of hair care products. Can you send me samples? They send me all the products. I tried them. I tested them. I found a line that I absolutely love. And then I got to name them. I got to design the packaging, and I placed my opening order. And the beautiful thing is that you can do that quickly. Speed is of the essence when it comes to business. Now, the other thing that's amazing is that my opening order wasn't super big. When you do a private label scenario, you can actually have a reasonably low investment, which means you're going to risk a lot less. And for me, it just made sense. I wasn't in a position to buy or place a $50,000 order. I didn't have the money. I needed to keep my risk super low. And so I did. For $3,000, I got my opening inventory. 5 products, 96 units of each. It was clay, it was putty, it was pomade, it was paste, it was cream. All right, those 5 products. I got all the boxes. I stacked them all nice and neat in my spare bedroom. I bought a Dymo printer. My assistant helped me build a website, Debbie, and then we were pretty much off to the races. I also bought some tissue paper and some plain like cardboard boxes. So I'm all set up, and then I started marketing it. The person, the company that markets the best will win the customer, because you can have the most amazing product in the world, but if nobody's hearing about it, you literally are going to go broke. Now, since I started Pete and Pedro, obviously, I now order in much larger quantities. I now do all custom formulas, but it was a great and easy way to start. And the beautiful thing is that all you got to do is a little Google search, whatever you want to start, private label watches, private label pants, private label, whatever, right? The company will send them to you, and you then basically do your due diligence, figure out what you like, what you don't. But the other amazing thing is that private label products have been tested. It's easy, and that's the thing. When you're first starting out, you need to take as much risk away as possible. And for me, private labeling made sense. Now, if you're doing something like custom, like a pen with like 6 points and 3 erasers, no, then you can't do private label. You then are going to have to go and find a manufacturer, somebody to do renderings, and then the molds, and then make a prototype, and then see about going about it that way, right? Much longer, much more expensive. Something else you can do is go to Alibaba. This is what all these Amazon people that are trying to tell you to sell on Amazon, they go to Alibaba, they find popular products on Amazon. I'm going to save you buying somebody's course. The whole game with these Amazon people, these guys that are telling you and teaching you and going to show you, or these fake gurus that are like, yo, all you got to do is do this, and you can set up an Amazon store and it fulfills itself. Really? I've been on Amazon since 2000. I forget the date, but I've been on there a while. It's hard. Amazon is hard, which we can talk about. Recently, I actually switched to FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, to see what the difference would be in terms of, anyway, I'm not going to get into Amazon right now. That's a whole nother video, a whole nother probably 10 videos. Anyway, you go to Alibaba, you find a product that you want to sell, right? You get it, you see what it is, and you can put your label, your name, or whatever, you import it. Now, the downside to this is that a lot of times with Alibaba, the minimum order quantity may be a little bit higher. But I am sick and tired of people saying, oh, it's cheap China shit. It's only cheap China shit if you use cheap products or components to the product you're making. This is how I actually started my business, Enemy. I went to Alibaba, I looked for sunglasses, I had them send me a bunch of different sunglasses. Anyway, Enemy's another business that I need to talk about, but I'll do that on another day and what I learned from that failing. But it's only a cheap Chinese product if you choose to use cheap Chinese components. What China is really great at doing is scaling and manufacturing at scale, all right, accurately. That's the thing. And so if you can find a product on Alibaba, you get it, you can customize it. Something else you can do when you find a manufacturer that you like that makes the products that you want to develop, you can go to them and say, hey, can you send me samples of different products that you're actually making? You get the samples and you're like, oh, you test them, you try them, and then you can actually customize them. You can add your fragrance, you can change different components, and then it's your custom formula. Actually, it would be easier if I go back to the office with you and show you what I'm talking about. Come on. All right. Let's talk about soap. I wanted to develop a bar of soap for Pete and Pedro, right? But I don't know like what to tell the lab. Like I wanted to have this percentage of olive oil and exfoliant now. And so what I did, I went to the lab, I said, hey, send me all the bars or samples of the bars that you guys manufacture for other companies. And guess what? They did, right? They sent me a few of them so I could test them. I sent some to my guy, Mike. Anyway, Huron, Native, Anthony, Crunch, Detox Bar, Atwater, Harry's, like the list goes on and on and on. And so I get these bars and I start trying them, right? And I'm like, oh, I like the exfoliation of this. I don't like too much jojoba beads or whatever. I want it to be moisturizing like this. I give them feedback and then boom, they send me some samples. They actually sent me a bunch of samples of some different variations of bars, right? I told them I wanted to use my fragrance, which is the same fragrance that I use in my deodorant, which is a eucalyptus spearmint. And woo, mama, it's amazing. Now, they gave me a few different ones. I tried them, and I finally decided on this one. This is the prototype-ish of the exfoliating bar, moisturizing bar that we're actually coming out with Pete and Pedro. And so I went to the lab that makes other people's, and I said, let me test them. And then you just basically give them feedback, and then they can give you something that you can basically have that is a custom formula. Now, the downside to going custom is the minimum order quantity. When I did my deodorant, I had to order a minimum of 20,000 units, all right? Bar of soap, same company, same minimum order, 20,000 bars of soap. And then multiply that by, call it $3, easy math, for a bar of soap. That's $60,000 just in soap that I'm going to be getting. I don't even know if I'm going to sell any of this, right? I know I'm going to because I've got a built-in market and audience. You know, I've got $60,000 tied up in one product and it's sitting on the shelf. Think of inventory as dollars on the shelf until you actually sell it. The trick with inventory is to shrink it as low as you can without running out, right? And so that's something that we are always focused on at Pete and Pedro. Every single month, we're getting a report. How much inventory do we have on hand? How much are we selling? What is the churn? Like, what is the red report? How much inventory do we have? When do we need to reorder it based on people's lead time? And that was one of the tricky things with COVID. A lot of people had to over-order because you never knew if you were going to get packaging, and with shipping being crazy and expensive and all that. Shipping, that's something else we got to talk. That's its own video because shipping is one of the top. It sucks. All right. Any way you shake it, if you're shipping anything, all right, the idea is that you want to make it as light as possible because shipping gets crazy, and that is one of the unsexy numbers that is crucially vital that you figure out. You got to work in shipping. You got to figure it out. Now, for Pete and Pedro, I don't provide free shipping for people that don't spend at least $60. I basically give people a threshold. You got to hit 60 and then you're going to get free shipping. Other shipping other than that is $5 international or domestic. Anyway, there is so much to talk about. There's so much to tell you. This video, I really wanted to just stress the fact that Two things. Number one, if you are looking to start a business, private labeling may be a great solution for you to look into. And as you grow, as you scale, you can change it. But I'm sick and tired of people being like, oh, private label, it's white label, it's crap. And it's not crap. It's amazing. Most of the white label products that you're going to find are incredible. Whether or not it's clothing, whether or not it's sneakers, whether or not it's watches, whether or not it's bars of soap, whether or not whatever. They've been tested. They've been tried. And these companies have made a business out of not only doing custom manufacturing, but private labeling for other companies. And it doesn't matter whether or not your private label product is unique to you or somebody else has it. Whoever markets it better is going to sell it, honestly. That is the truth. Marketing is critical. All right, private labeling, it allows you to do it quickly. It allows you to cut out a lot of the noise, a lot of the nonsense. It allows you to also have a low minimum order quantity, which means you're going to be able to risk less and invest less to test it and try it. One of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is that they over order inventory, right? The other thing with private labeling, because you can order smaller amounts, you know that you're going to be able to get it typically a little bit faster than a lot of the times when you're doing like a custom order. Like for this soap, 3 months. That's my lead time for a bar of soap. With private labeling, typically it's going to be, depending on the product, it could be 3 weeks, it could be a month. But it's not going to be 3 months typically, depending on components or ingredients and all that. COVID effed a lot of things up, but generally speaking, it's going to be a lot quicker. And so you can get a little bit less and test it and see what happens. Does it move? Does it not? And it prevents you from actually overspending and overbuying inventory, because a lot of companies get in trouble because they've got too much inventory on hand and not enough cash in the bank in order to run and grow and do the advertising and marketing and pay payroll, not to mention utilities and the rent. Like, you got to really figure that out. And the last thing I want to just mention real quick is that there's nothing wrong with slow and steady, right? On the internet, everybody's talking about explosive growth and this and that. Well, that's probably not going to happen either. Pete and Pedro has never seen a meteoric rise. It's been a grind. It's breaking rocks. It's doing the things that you need to do in order to build a successful business that is profitable. So I think I might have a piece of paper in here telling, hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. Right there. That is how much Pete and Pedro revenue has done. Year one, $30,000. Year two, $62,000. Year three, $268,000. Year four, $813,000. Year five, $1.6 million. Year six, $2.8 million. Year seven, in 2019, we were $3.7 million, and then it has taken off from there. And so nothing sexy, nothing meteoric, but it was consistent. There's nothing wrong with growing a business slow and steady. For me, I want to see a ROAS, return on ad spend, of at least like a 3.5, because there's so much bullshit that goes into actually figuring out the numbers. If I'm not making at least 3.5%, I don't increase the spend. Now, Amazon, my current ROAS is like 4.6%, which is really high. And so every month, a little bit more money, $3,000, $3,000. On Amazon, last 30 days, $340,000 for Pete and Pedro. Not bad, but it takes time. It takes time to build it. It takes time to grow it. I'll talk about everything on this channel. Can you tell how excited I am about this? Unfortunately for you, it's probably all over the place and it's me just like brain dumping. I promise that the videos will get a little bit more concise, but there's just so much that I want to tell you. And like I said, I love being an entrepreneur. It's in my soul. It's in my DNA. And if it's in yours, gentlemen, congratulations and buckle up. There's just so much. There's so much I want to talk about and tell you. I love entrepreneurship. I love business. And I love that you're here. I've never felt more alive and creative than I have been the past few weeks that I started thinking about videos. I've got lists, I've got videos, I got topics, 2 a week. That is the goal, that is the plan, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I love this stuff, and hopefully it shows and you can tell. I don't know everything, but I know enough to be dangerous, and I probably know more than most people teaching you and selling you courses and secrets on how to do it. And so it's my gift to you. You guys have changed my life. On my other Alpha M YouTube channel, the businesses that I have, like, it's because of you. And so this is something that I can do to give back. And it's something that I love talking about and something that I'm passionate about. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks for dropping one of those.